All right, Jason. We're coming to you. Out in Georgia, he, him pronouns is atheist, wants to ask us, do we think there's a line where we would need to make abortions illegal if humanity was going extinct? Is that your question, Jason?
Okay, yeah, that's pretty much the premise of it, yes.
Cool. Yeah, I think I can answer that. I think my answer to that would be no. And I think the reason why I would say no, to explain, is because when I use the term abortion, I try my best to be using the medical definition, the one that my friend, good old Dr. Ben, hanging out with us here, he has explained to me this is what the experts are talking about, and that being a termination of the pregnancy. I do not believe that it will ever be correct to restrict things like C-sections or induced labor. Those are terminations of a pregnancy, thus falling under the definition of abortion that I'm using. So no, I do not think there is ever a time to make abortions illegal. Does that make sense?
It does make sense, but so you're saying you're okay with the human race going extinct? Is that word the case?
Did anything whatsoever that I just say talk about life and death? Did I mention anything about extinction? Did I mention anything about death or life or anything?
Well,
be honest.
That's going to be the precursor.
No. Stop, Jason. You're smarter than this. You're an adult. You used a phone this morning. Did anything that I say mention life or death in any way, shape, or form? Did I use the words?
You're saying you're going to terminate a pregnancy. So,
Jason, this is easy. You can do this. I fully believe in you. I know you are not trying to be an asshole, but it comes across that way because this is a very simple question. Did I say anything? Did I say anything that mentioned life or death at all? I'll answer your question here in just a second about the extinction of humanity, but answer that first. Yes or no? Very easy.
I'll say no to play your game.
Yeah.
No.
Awesome, Jason. Awesome. So we're jumping to a totally different category here when you talk about the extinction of humanity because abortion isn't illegal. That's not going to happen because the definition of abortion that I'm utilizing doesn't mention life or death at all. That is a complete and total non sequitur. Does that make sense now?
But do you get what I'm saying, though?
I do understand where you're going, but do you understand that you have completely dropped this first conversation and you've moved on to something totally different? I'm fine with using your definitions in this conversation. I'm fine going down this route. All I want is an acknowledgement that what I said had nothing to do with what you're talking about now.
Okay, I get that part. Okay.
Cool, sweet, awesome,
so,
awesome.
Because what you're talking about...
Hang on just a second, Jason. Hang on just a second. Jim's got something real quick. We'll kick it back.
What you're talking about is it okay to force women to carry a viable child to term and to force them to do that under the condition that the human race is going extinct, right? That's what you're talking about.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah, just about, yes.
Mm-hmm. Cool.
There has to be no just about. That is exactly what you're talking about. Or we're going back to secular rarity, yelling at you for not knowing what abortion is.
I think I was speaking loudly.
If all women everywhere just decided that they didn't want to have any children, and it was legal everywhere, and that led them to not. So
as a general rule of thumb, governments have the right to force people to do things they don't want to do against a threat to that society that the government is over, right? So that includes selective service, that includes mask mandates, that includes, yes, in that particular case, if the human race, and this would be the human race, not necessarily that society, but if the human race is going extinct, then yes, a government would have the right to force someone to use their body in a way they don't want to for that express purpose. But that's only in the case where the society is threatened. And that's where we get away with things like jail time. That's where jail time comes from. That's where selective service comes from, or conscription, however you want to use it. That's where mask mandates and things like that come from. That's where traffic laws come from. So yes, in your case, that would be the case. However, it is not the case currently that the human race is in any way, shape, or form anywhere close to being extinct. Your thought experiment works. Pardon?
I'm asking, both of you guys' opinion, not the government, what they would do, but
I just gave you my opinion. My opinion is that yes, a government in that situation would have the right to force a woman to carry a pregnancy a viable pregnancy to term.
So you got two answers from two different veins of this question here. So where do you want to go?
Okay, what was your answer?
I said no under the medical definition of what an abortion is, because a medical definition of an abortion is simply ending the pregnancy. And ending the pregnancy can be something as inducing labor before the due date, or a C-section so as to protect the health of either the child or the mother.
Right. Okay. And my answer avoided SR's definition, because I said in the case you can force a woman to carry a viable pregnancy to term.
Right.
And that term could be 9 months. It could be a C-section early, however you want to define it. So we're both in that case, we're both in the same regard. So we're taking a more nuanced position.
Okay.
Go
Can I speak? Okay, so the essence of my question is women, they don't want to get pregnant whatsoever. Like, that's the scenario. Every woman on the planet does not want to get pregnant, and they're, that's what they don't want to do. Do you guys support them, carrying on the
not getting pregnant?
Yeah. So again, my answer, I don't care what the scenario is that is the threat to the human race. Yeah. The scenario is irrelevant. It could be we're dying faster and we need to replace faster. Anything. I don't care what it is. A government at that point in defense of society would have the right to do that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I'll say this real quick, Jason, and then I want to ask what I think is actually the important question here. I am not so fucking hung up on the idea that one day I might not exist. I'm not so particularly bummed out by the fact that 500,000 years can go by and a new species could exist that dominates the globe. We've got quite a long fucking time before we catch up to the dinosaurs. So let's go Homo sapiens. But I'm not positive we're going to hit that number. But honestly, I don't really give a fuck. When we talk about abortion, what I'm interested in is the on-the-ground real harm that happens daily. I'm going to say something, okay? And you're not going to believe me. In fact, there's probably going to be a lot of people out there, people that like enjoy listening to me talk, and they're going to be like, no way, SR, that's fucking crazy. Go look up how many people die giving birth in this country, in our country, Jason. Every single fucking day that happens. Do you want that to stop? Do you want people giving birth to be safe and survive?
Oh yeah, like I support abortion in a way. I'd rather my child not get aborted, but I do think it should be legal. But I have heard this one argument where they're like, so what if, they say women, they die every day, but what about all the children, or that could, the would, that, as soon
children don't die from abortions. Children do not die from abortions. No, they do not die from abortions, because the point at which that a child is viable, it is a delivery. That is what a termination of pregnancy before the end of term is. If The thing in the uterus is viable. It is a child and it survives. And if it doesn't, you are liable, whether you do it by mistake or you do it by on purpose. And if you're wondering if I'm interested in making sure that all of those fucking people out there that are murdering babies stop, yeah, man, that's an easy answer. Find me the person that disagrees with that statement, and I'll fucking yell at them with you, Jason. But the medical definition of abortion does not have anything to do with children dying. That is an important distinction that we have to be on the same page on, because otherwise, Jason, people die and children die. If it isn't enough for you that people giving birth in this country are dying at a higher rate than every other country in our bracket, every other country in the world that has infrastructure like ours and a GDP like ours takes care of the people who give birth. We don't. We watch them fucking die. And we watch children die too because of stupid garbage laws written by people that don't actually give a shit. If we both care. Ignorant. Exactly. They're completely ignorant.
I have heard a politician say that if a woman is sexually assaulted, she has ways to keep from being pregnant that are natural to her. And it's like, this guy has no idea how the body works.
Right.
And infant mortality and pregnancy mortalities have gone up since the abortion ban was lifted.
Yep.
Since Roe v. Wade was overturned.
Yeah.
Bottom line.
Yeah.
We now have doctors who have to consult lawyers before they can perform procedures.
To save somebody's life. To save somebody's life, they have to call $100 an hour for a consultation. 15 minutes, by the way, least amount in a billable increment there, okay? So let me give you $25 fucking dollars to turn around and then tell somebody I can't do shit and watch them bleed out on the table. If we actually give a shit about stuff like that, Jason, let's be on the same page. Because honestly, it sounds like we're a hell of a lot closer than not. It sounds like you're not the type of person that's going to force a 10-year-old to keep that pregnancy. So let's fight back against all the other people that are out there trying to push that don't give a shit about the people and stop worrying about this. What if the human race is going extinct or anything? Let's talk about the real shit. Like, what if there's an individual in Texas right now with an ectopic pregnancy and their doctor says, I don't know if I can operate? What if there is somebody right now with fucking sepsis in the hospital and the doctor looks back at them and says, it's not yet bad enough that it's risking your life. Put your life on the line and then I'll do something.
Yeah. If a woman has a miscarriage late term, they have to wait for sepsis to set in before they can actually remove the child.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
I know I yelled at you. I know I yelled at you a little bit, Jason, and I apologize. I'm not that angry with you.
Your scenario is completely unlikely at the moment. Yeah. For the foreseeable future, every scenario we just mentioned is happening today.
Yeah. Let's fight that together, man.
I mean, birth rates are going down around the world. It's just a scenario. It's just a thought.
Yes, because it was going up. Yeah. What goes up must come down.
Right. We've got 8 billion people. When that drops to 7, let's talk about humanity going extinct. Until then,
let's wait till it drops down to 4.
Yeah, right. I mean, let's actually talk about the things that are important, and the things that are important are the things that are happening right here, right now in our country, Jason. I live in Tennessee. It says you're in Georgia. Our states are 2 of the fucking worst. How disgusting. How disgusting that is the state that I live in. That is my country. Absolutely ridiculous, man. And I honestly, Jason, again, I know I kind of yelled at you, and I'm sorry. I'm just hot, both, I mean that literally, and like, honestly. I don't know why. It's kind of hot in Tennessee today. But seriously, man, I think we are on much more of the same page. And I feel like you and I and a lot of us here can be standing shoulder to shoulder and make sure that all that terrible shit that we have just agreed in this call, we don't want anymore. Let's push back against those people who are calling for that. Because as fucking wild as it sounds, Jason, there are people out there that are standing up proudly in broad daylight and saying with their full fucking voice that they do want little kids to have to carry to term their rapist's baby. Let's you and me do something about that, man. Yeah. I think we can.
Yeah, that's insane.
Yeah, I agree. Well, I'm gonna let you go real quick, Jason, and I appreciate you, man. We got a couple of other really good calls I wanna get to. I really do, man. I appreciate you, and again, I apologize for kind of yelling at you. Hopefully, I wasn't too much of a dick.